Apple recently just announced the brand new iMac, and a lot of people like it and a lot of people hate it. Quite frankly, I think it's very cool and it's homage to the original iMac G3, which is just so cool. If you got it, which color would you get? Let me know in the comments. And in this video, we are going to be talking about why you shouldn't buy one. I know, controversial, but you'll understand in a minute. I think it's a massive, massive waste of money, and this is coming from someone who spent all of that money on a Mac Pro. But this I genuinely think is a massive waste of money, and I have very good reasoning. There is no denying that this iMac looks absolutely amazing. It's got incredible tech in it. The screen is just that thin, mesmerizingly thin, which is pretty cool. The one thing that annoyed me is that entire chipset of the M1 chip and all of the other ones. They put it at the bezel. Why wouldn't they just put it in the stand? It's so annoying. I mean, if it was in the stand, you'd have a bezel-less screen, and my gosh, it would have looked so much better. Maybe they're saving that for the next time, I don't know. Either way, by bringing out this machine, Apple have given themselves some unnecessary competition that I'm really hoping everyone is going to catch on to. The Mac Mini. Apple released the brand new Mac Mini just last year with their game-changing M1 chip. In fact, I have done a review on the Mac Mini before, which it wasn't the best review, but I feel like that's because I got quite a dodgy unit. Anyways, the Mac Mini in general is an excellent, excellent machine. I know a few people that have one and it just works amazingly. And you want to hear the craziest thing? It has the exact same computing power as that of the iMac. Exactly the same. They both use the exact same chipset, exactly the same. It's really crazy, I know, and I don't understand for the life of me why Apple didn't bring out the iMac with the M1X or the M2 or another chip that was slightly better, but instead, they have literally just used the exact same chip. Now, for this reason, it doesn't stand alone from the M1 Mac Minis, the M1 Mac Pros, and the M1 MacBook Airs. It's, in theory, an identical machine. The major difference is that screen, right? With the other machines, you don't get that really nice screen. So, by buying a Mac Mini, not only will you save a whole bunch of money right now, you'll save a fortune in the future, and let me explain to you exactly how you can do that. If we select an iMac with an 8-core CPU and an 8-core GPU and the 16-core neural engine, we keep it at 8 GB of RAM, even though we all secretly want to upgrade to 16 GB, and then we upgrade the pathetic 256 GB of storage. Honestly, why do they still do that? It will come to a total of £1,649. With that, you get the screen, the mouse, and a keyboard. That's pretty standard for an iMac. Now let's have a look at the Mac Mini. For the exact same specs, 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU, and the 16-core neural engine, you're looking at £699. But if we increase this as well to 512 GB of storage, it goes to £899. A whole £750 cheaper than that of the iMac. So, what's really the difference? Well, the major difference is with the iMac, you're getting an all-in-one package. It looks really nice, snazzy, sleek. There's many other synonyms that I probably can't think of. It just looks really good on the desk. As well as the computer, you get the mouse and the keyboard, and you'll get the camera, you know, the webcam, right? Whereas with the Mac Mini, you're pretty much just getting a Mac Mini. You're gonna need to buy a mouse, a keyboard, and probably a webcam if that's something you're gonna wanna use it for. However, with £750 left over, buying those extra peripherals should be really, really easy for you. In fact, you have a plethora of different screens to choose from, some even better than that of the iMac. So let me just quickly tell you the specs of the iMac screen. You've got the Apple display at 24 inches. It's 4.5K resolution with their Retina technology. Now the exact resolution is 4480 by 2520 at 218 pixels per inch with support for 1 billion colors. It's quite a lot of colors. 500 nits in brightness, wide color and true tone technology. So those are certain things you might struggle to find in a third-party screen. However, saying that, there are some excellent third-party screens from the likes of LG and Dell. Having a look around at some different screens, we could get a screen just as good for around £350, which leaves us with £300. Now with that £300, we'll get a mouse and a keyboard. So you might be thinking, well, at the end of the day, you're like, it's kind of costing the same, give or take £100. What's the real difference? Well, let me get to that in a second. Of course, some people are going to want to pick the iMac just for the sleek form factor, right? It looks nice in a house, especially now that you can pick all these different colors. However, don't think that the Mac Mini is a messy machine. You can very easily keep it really neat, hide all the wires. I mean, have a look at Apple's own ad, right? It's so unbelievably neat on the screen. As well as that, you can also, put it on the side of a desk, you can put it underneath the desk, you could put it on the back of the monitor that you've bought. There are so many places to hide the actual machine of the Mac Mini. So I wouldn't really include, the form factor as a good enough excuse to buy the new iMac. Especially nowadays when you get some Dell ultra sharp screens that look just as nice, if not nicer, than that of the iMac screen. I mean, my screens here, they are just thin bezels, nothing to them. In that sense, it's absolutely fine and they look really good, in the home, in the kitchen, in the office, wherever you want to put this iMac. Now for the real reason why buying a Mac Mini is way better bang for your buck and it just makes so much more sense. As soon as Apple announced the next chip, the M1X, the M2, the M3, the M47X, whatever they decide to call it, as soon as they announce that chip, your iMac is going to be out of date. Likewise with your Mac Mini. Okay, and you're going to want to eventually upgrade because they'll bring out a new chip maybe every 12 to 18 months, give or take. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. And your computer will go out of date very quickly. With something like the iMac, you're going to have to buy another iMac, right? So it's going to cost you another £1,650. And then the next year, another £1,650. Whereas with the Mac Mini, you've bought that Mac Mini, it cost you whatever it was, £899. You've got the mouse, the keyboard, and the screen. When they bring out a new chip, the only thing you have to really replace is that Mac Mini, right? You don't have to replace the keyboard, you don't have to replace the screen, you don't have to replace the mouse. All of those things, they're not timeless, but they definitely last a lot longer than the computer, right? You can get an LG Ultra Sharp, Dell Ultra Sharp screen that lasts on average 5 years until technology moves forward and you can get something better. Whereas with the actual computer, a computer is not going to last you 5 years. Well, it will last you 5 years, but the computer itself, right, the technology in the computer won't last you 5 years. Which is the reason why it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that Apple brought out the same chip, and it doesn't make sense to buy the iMac knowing you can get the exact same power from something that you're probably going to upgrade in a couple of months anyways when they announce the M2 or the M1X. And down the line, you can still use your Mac Mini. So if you buy a new Mac Mini, that first Mac Mini can be used as a time machine backup, as a spare computer, just some hardware, whatever. Whereas with the iMac, it's a big thing, right? When you replace it, you're gonna replace it, you're gonna get rid of it and replace it. So it makes more sense. That money you're spending on the Mac Mini, that will go a lot further than the money you're spending on an iMac. So the verdict. The iMac is a stunning machine. Don't get me wrong, it just looks gorgeous. And in fact, I want one, right? But I can't do that to myself knowing the Mac Mini is the same machine. So at the end of the day, if you weigh up all the pros and cons, it just makes more sense to get a Mac Mini. But again, this is my opinion. So what do you think? Do you think it's worth it to spend all that extra money on an iMac knowing the exact same technology is in a machine half the price? And knowing Apple, regardless of what they bring out, they're still gonna sell a ton of them. They're gonna sell a ton of iMacs. People are gonna buy them in their really fancy studios and homes and all these things because they look good. Well, they look good depending on if you like them, but they do look good. And that's a shame, because if people weighed up the pros and cons, they would realize, get a Mac Mini, get a really cool screen, and then upgrade it more frequently than you would upgrade your iMac. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What would you do? I'm genuinely curious to find out if you would buy the iMac. And if you would buy the iMac, let me know in the comments why. What's your reasoning for wanting to buy the iMac? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Please smash that like button if you got all the way to the end. And if you haven't already subscribed, you can see I'm a tiny channel. I'm just starting, but hopefully one day I'll grow to be one of these massive channels, but let's just get to 1,000 subscribers first. So yeah, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.